Hey everybody, it's Dimitri again. Excuse me. And today I want to talk to you about a facilitation technique that can be kind of specific. But if you run into a situation where you're working with a participant who just can't seem to get angry but clearly wants to and needs to, this can be a lifesaver. So that's what we're going to talk about. I know lately I've been talking a lot about sort of like 10,000 foot level things about how to handle your emotions as a facilitator, or what to keep in mind, or ways of checking your ego at the door, stuff like that. But this is a very specific facilitation tip for a very specific situation. And it's a situation that comes up pretty often, so it's a good thing for you to know how to do. So I'm going to talk in terms of a guy, because I've seen this mostly in guys. But this will be a guy who on your workshop or in your group wants to do a piece of anger work, and clearly he needs to. He's been beaten down by life. He's had one thing after another happen to him that are bad. He has many mean voices talking to him, and he seems really kind of shut down, and he doesn't have energy. And so you put him into an anger process because he clearly seems to want to do it. Now you have safety on him. Like say he's gonna yell this mean part out of the room. So you have safety on him, which means you have two people holding him so that he can really let go into his anger. But he doesn't seem to be able to get angry. What he does, maybe he kind of whines, but there's no real energy there. Or very often what he'll do is he'll start explaining to the big mean part why the big mean part shouldn't be a big mean part. Or maybe he'll touch the energy for a second, but then it's gone and he has no idea where it was or where it came from or what happened. And this is a guy also who, if you've worked with this kind of stuff a lot, you might be saying, well, hey, we'll just do a shadow reversal. We'll put him into the big mean part because that's where all the energy is. But the problem with this guy is he doesn't have the mental sort of capacity in your facilitation circumstance to be able to understand this idea of stepping into the big mean part and owning that energy. He can barely track with what you're doing. So when you're in this situation, when you're with a guy who he wants to get angry, but he just can't, he whines or he explains, and he seems like he just barely understands what's going on, this is a place to use a process I created called drilling for oil. And I will explain it to you now. First thing to know, you really have to take leadership with a guy like this. A guy like this is going to be very confusing, and he won't be able to keep track of what's going on. You'll have to re-explain to him everything that's going on every couple minutes in the process. But you've got him in this position. He's facing off with the big mean part. And there he is, and he's got nothing. He can't get into the energy. All he can do is whine and complain. So this is where you say, hey, you know what? I want to do a process here called drilling for oil. Now, what you may have seen on this workshop is men kind of jumping into the deep end and just really going crazy with being angry. But I don't think that's the right thing for you. I think the thing for you is to kind of put your toe in and feel the energy and take it back out and just kind of go step by step with that. So you can start to actually strike the oil of the energy that we're looking for, and then maybe refine it into jet fuel or rocket fuel or something like that. So you'll say this to him, and he'll probably say to you, hey, you know what? That's true. I really do feel like I can't do what I've seen these other guys do. So, all right, so what we're going to do first is we're just going to touch it for a second and come back out. So what I'd like you to do is just say no to this big mean part, like 5 times in a row. Can you do that? And he'll be like, okay. He'll go, no, 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 no. He's like, okay, stop, great, stop. Now go inside and feel in your body where the energy of that no was. And everyone watching is like, wow, that was the wimpiest no I've ever heard. But for him, this is actually kind of a big step. He put his toe in, and you let him take it back out. And let him feel, all right, what's it feel like in your body? Where is it in your body? Put your hands on where it is. And he'll be like, yeah, it's a little tiny energy right here or in my fists or whatever. All right, great. Put your hands there. Feel it, right? Now, I want to do it again, and this time let that place do the speaking. He'll say, okay. So he'll go, no, 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 no. And maybe it'll open up a little bit. You'll say, great, all right, now come back out. You put your toe in, now come back out. Now feel it again. Feel that energy. What color is it? And as you do this with a guy, often he'll go through a progression of colors from like darker to lighter. And the big thing to get here is Usually when we do anger work with a man, what we do is we have him jump in the deep end. We expect them to go from 0 to 100. And we're kind of like, go, 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 right? Everybody in the room is yelling, go, 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 you can do it, you can do it. You can kind of reclaim your power and really go to 1,000%. For a guy like this is not the way to do it. For him, a huge victory is just touching it and coming back out and surviving. Right, I said earlier, this is often a guy who's had lots of people in his life yell at him and be abusive to him. He knows how dangerous anger can be. He's not just going to dump in the deep end. He needs to know he can step in a little bit and come back out and survive it. His nervous system needs to get used to, he can get into this energy and come back out and everything will be fine. So what we do is I also call it scooping, right? We're mining for oil. We're trying to get him in touch with, yes, okay, you feel that thing that said no that time? Yeah, I do feel it. It's like red, and it's like a red jewel in my chest. Okay, this time, do it a little more. He'll go, no, 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 stop, stop. Like, great, stop again, feel it. And if he starts to really peek into it, you want to stop him so he can feel it at its peak. Now, this guy is almost certainly never going to get to where you would like him to go in the process. The thing that's a victory for him is probably going to end up being pretty weak sauce for you, but that doesn't matter because it's a victory for him. So you may get him to the point, if he's touching actual energy and it's moving at all, and he's drilled that oil. I say, oh, great, now you're touching the energy. Now we want to refine that into jet fuel. How does that sound? He's like, oh, that sounds good. All right, so now we want you to touch it. I want you to let that oil geyser, the gusher spurt up, and then use that as jet fuel to yell this guy out of the room. And then let him do it and let him win, because he actually is winning. He's touching an energy. Like I said before, it doesn't matter how small that energy was. If it's bigger than what he did before, it's a win, and have him win. And then at the end, he's standing in it. He blew the part out of the room. Like I said, even though it was 10% of what you would like to see. And you'll ask him, how does that feel? Wow, it feels good. Does it feel like you're now a man who can start setting boundaries in his life? Yeah, it does feel like I can start setting boundaries. And I want you to notice how you can use that energy, that red jewel, like conversationally, just to say no to someone. How does that sound? It's like, it sounds good. Great, go up to 5 guys and just say no with that energy. And let him practice that. He'll say, no, no, no. All right, great, you're kind of yelling. Now say it in your normal voice. No, no, no. And for these guys, you'll often notice once he brings it back to his normal voice, that's what's most powerful. So this is drilling for oil, refining it into jet fuel, also sometimes called scooping. Want to make sure you have this, because this is a guy, like I said at the beginning, who just yelling at him to go and jump in the deep end is not going to work. And trying to do some fancy pants intellectual maneuver like helping him see the big mean part as a shadow and he can own that shadow, he is not going to be up for seeing that. He's just not going to have the capacity to do it. Drilling for oil and letting his victory be a victory is what's going to work here. So once again, please share this any place you think people might be able to use it. Put your questions and comments in the comments, and I'll answer them in the future. I'm doing this every weekday for a while, so I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.